Hey, good morning, everyone. So I just went ahead and I graded the week 4 assignments, and I'm still missing a lot of the portfolio project assignments. I understand though, working with macros can be really difficult. I have been working in a full-time position for, I'm trying to look at the year, 13 years now, and I have not had to use macros essentially at all. However, there are many different roles where you can use forms and macros extensively, and it will save you a lot of time. So I understand if you never have done this before, because I really haven't, other than in an academic setting as well. So a couple steps. I do have a recording on the steps for the actual portfolio project itself, but I want to review part of the lesson with you as well. If you had issues and you struggled in week 4, please go back and read the week 4 lecture. All right. When you are going to do your portfolio project, I'm just going to rewind. If you haven't submitted it yet, please make sure that you are customizing your ribbon first. You are going to need to have a form button, and you are going to need to make sure you have the developer tab accessible. Those should be in your ribbon, and it will show you step by step in lesson number 2, the tutorials, how to do that. But first, read all of your instructions here on the customization. I'm just going down. You'll see some great screenshots as well. And when we go, I'm going to show you when we go to that lesson 2 tutorial, you're going to see it's great. It's step by step. But again, more screenshots. This is what it's going to look in the back of your Microsoft Excel. When you go to the settings and you go to this customization section, it will look just like this. Then there's going to be a section on macros. What are macros? We know now they are user recorded sets of instructions and keystrokes so you can automatically execute a command. This week for the portfolio project, you were to record a set of instructions so that you could go ahead and execute calculations for payroll, for overtime specifically. This will tell you what you can use macros for. And then the second section right here, this is going to tell you how to run and record macros. So this is not step by step, but please read this first. Also, a big thing, if we look right here, you want to save your workbook as a macro-enabled workbook. Not all Excel versions will default to that. Mine does not default to that. So when I save an Excel workbook, it saves as a .xls. We want to make sure it's going to save as a .xlsm. So when we click Save As and we see the file extension, we want to go down and select that. Again, there are instructions on that as well. So here in this next section, we're going to learn how to run a macro. Okay, we will also do the step-by-step in the tutorial. I think it's tutorial number 4. It's going to show you how to do this. One thing that's good to know, though, is that your macro is saved to a workbook. So you can actually use your macro on the entire workbook, not just on the sheet you're working on. So, for a portfolio project, we've had different sheet tabs at the bottom. The macro can work on the full workbook. I highly recommend, if you have not watched this, or if you've only watched it once and still have questions, watch this macros tutorial again. If you don't, go ahead and add your response. That's okay, but please make sure you're watching this. And that's the lesson. It's short, but it's a little confusing. It can be extremely challenging. For the project itself, please follow the tutorials. You need to follow all 4 as per the instructions. Do not neglect any of them. You need to make sure that you customize your ribbon so that you have that form button at the top on your home tab. So follow all these instructions. This is just in-depth, step-by-step with what we learned in lesson 1. Then go ahead and customize your ribbon to create a macro in Excel, because you're going to need to have that developer tab. It's going to show you again, step by step. Follow these instructions. When you are done, your Excel, this is Excel for work, I apologize, but your Excel is going to have form at the top. That's new. And also this developer tab, that's new. Now you are showing those different tools in your ribbon pane. That's this customization piece right here. Again, you need to do this first. Once you've done that, now you've customized your ribbon, you can go ahead and create the form with macros. It's very easy. It is going to be step by step here. And I've done this along with you. I did it in week 4. I can do it again with you in week 5 and 6. If you still haven't submitted this yet or having questions, it will look exactly this way as you go ahead and do this. Follow these instructions right here. You're going to enter that information that was from the employee records PNG that you've already been putting in weeks 1 through 3, and make sure you're filling in the information you have. You'll see here, it's going to be columns A, B, C, and E. Once you get to step 5, that's when we're going to start recording that macro, our calculation for pay. You're going to go ahead and you're going to go to that developer tab at the top, that new tab we added when we customized the ribbon. And you're going to go ahead to record macro right here. Name it pay calculation. And when you type the letter P in that box, it will automatically change to Control-Shift-P. At first, it just said on my end, Control-P, but once I typed in P, it looked Control-Shift-P. I stored it in this workbook and I was good to go. Looked exactly the same. Once you do that, you are going to go into each of these cells. So if we go back here, see how these cells D2 is empty. G, G2, F2, H2, I2, they're all empty. Once we hit record macro and we hit OK, we want to go and click on each of those cells and type in these 5 different equations. So in cell D2, we're going to type C2 times 1.5, so on and so forth for the 5. Once we have done that, go back up into the ribbon and click stop recording. We have now recorded this formula as a macro. At this point, go ahead and save your file. Like I said, you have to save it as that macros enabled workbook. When you go ahead and click right here, when you click Save as Type, where it says Excel Workbook, when you click it, you're going to see a number of different options. So if we go down here, there will be an option right here, second on this list, Excel Macro Enabled Workbook. Click that file extension and then hit Save. Now we've created the form with macros. Lastly, we're going to learn how to run the form. We're going to do the same thing again. We're going to enter those labels in the header row, select the data, click My Table Has Headers, and it's going to turn it into the table, just like we did in the last step. If you don't know where the table button is, when you're doing insert, click insert in the ribbon. It's going to be right here under tables. It's this button right here that I'm trying to circle with my cursor. Okay, that's where that is. You used that in the last tutorial. You're going to use it in this one as well. So now you're going to go to the header row, press and hold Control A, and you're going to select your whole table. You could do this manually. Control A is just a shortcut so you can learn how to quickly highlight your table. That's it. And don't worry about anything else. It just helps you do it in a quicker manner. Now you are going to go up to Home in the ribbon, and you're going to go to that new form button you had created when you customized your ribbon back in step 1. You're going to go to the form group, and you're going to have this box that's going to pop up. You're going to enter your known data into the appropriate location. So remember, we know from the employee records, everyone's first name, last name, their pay rate, and the 5th item, their hours worked. We don't know any of these other things. We don't know the overtime rate, the hours, overtime hours, the base pay, the overtime pay, or the gross pay. Those are things we're going to calculate with the macro. That is why in the last tutorial, those were the cells where we put the formulas in, because we want to calculate something. Right now, we only have these 4 fields of information. So Jerry Ford is not in yours. I think it starts with Sean Astin. I mean, I loved him in The Goonies. Also very solid in Lord of the Rings. But you're going to go ahead, start with Sean, and you're going to type in these 4 fields and proceed for all of the entries. When you go ahead and you enter each record, you're going to click the new button or hit enter so you can get to the next person and you can enter their information. When you are done entering in all of your individuals, you are going to click close. You're done entering your data. You are then going to place your cursor in the cell that the macro is going to begin running in. For us, and this example, it will be cell D2. Follow the instructions, D2. Then you're going to go back up to the ribbon. Click on that developer tab you added. Click macro, and then you are going to have this box pop up. You'll see your macro that you created, pay calculation. You are going to go ahead and click that and run it. Okay, click run. Excel will then do all the calculations and your table will populate with all of your information. So now you will have done all of the formulas with the click of a button. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me, send me any inquiries that you have. This is not the easiest thing in the world. You may never need this again, or you may go into fields where you need to use this extensively. But please feel free to reach out. The portfolio project, just like SimNet, is a huge portion of your grade, and I don't want you to lose points. So if you have questions, send them my way. The best way to reach me is always via email. But if you want to ask a question that you think other individuals in the class would be interested in knowing the answer to as well, please also add that to the Ask Your Instructor forum. I've added some other things in there too. If you have further questions about macros, last week in the course announcements, I added multiple videos that would assist you if you watched them. And I think I also added one video in the week 4 discussion forum because I had my own question that you could answer if you needed more responses for the week. Because remember, for discussions, you need 3 responses. So go in there. There are a handful of different resources for you. I like learning through video versus lecture format. So I tried to add a couple more videos in for you. If you have questions, though, let me know. I think I've reiterated that like 5 times. So enjoy the rest of your week. I hope that everyone is having a nice sunny Wednesday. It is so sunny here. I live in Buffalo, maybe like some of you do as well. And I am just like, we're really glad February hit and it's like spring's on its way. And the groundhogs also, Dunkirk Dave and Punxsutawney Phil said there should be an early spring. So fingers crossed that they're right. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.